Hey Wheel of Time fans, welcome back to Dan of the Red Hand. I'm Dan, and today we're going to go over all the little Easter eggs and small details you might have missed in the season finale of the Amazon series, The Wheel of Time, the episode, The Eye of the World. Before we do, I want to say this is a full spoiler video. This has spoilers for both the series as well as the books. So, if you haven't watched it or read it, you may want to leave because there's going to be some spoilers here. Alright, if you're still here, let's start out with that cold opening in the Age of Legends and notice a couple things about the clothing first of all. To begin with, Latra and Lews Therin Telamon are wearing white and black, a clear nod to Saidar and Saidin. Additionally, Lews Therin Telamon has a dragon on the breast of his outfit. Also, look at his outfit. It looks very similar to the way they describe the Asha'man outfits in the books. Additionally, he's wearing some kind of a ring that covers 3 fingers but is attached to one. So is Latra, and later on we also see that the Dark One is wearing it as well. A couple other small cautionary details. If you look at Latra's earrings, they are connected by a chain that almost looks like a necklace, potentially a nod to the Sea Folk. Additionally, if you look at Lews Therin's belt buckle, it does look very similar to that same shape that ring is in. So for those who don't know, this is Latra Pose de Chume, who in the books is the Aes Sedai who is very much against Lews Therin's plan to take his companions and go up and seal the Dark One away, citing that it could open up the power to the Dark One and could potentially set them back 3,000 years, which is exactly what happens here. As stated in this scene, both male and females are Aes Sedai. Latra calls Lews Therin Telamon the Dragon Reborn, not the dragon. Now, if you notice, this entire scene is in what's called the Old Tongue, which the X-ray content explains is a dead language that was used in the Age of Legends. By the way, just so we know, Chalinda means sweetheart in the Old Tongue. When Lews Therin looks outside of the window, you get to see your first vision of the Age of Legends, and it looks wonderful. It looks futuristic, yet elegant. There's flying machines, and there are even Jokars. Don't know what those are? Look them up in the books. All right, so getting into the actual episode, let's start with an explicit image warning, because this next image is about to be explicit, so if you don't like that, skip forward a little bit. But this soldier who died in the Blight has fungus and moss growing all out of him, a clear nod to the books and the way that the Forsaken Balthamel died. Another nod to the books is when Rand and Moiraine stop to rest inside of the 7 Towers of Malkir, just like they did in the books. Speaking of Malkir, let's talk about that scene between Lan and Nynaeve, where his lines, "I will hate the man who you choose because he is not me, but I will love him because he makes you smile," pulled directly out of the books and is one of the most often quoted quotes out of Robert Jordan's books. In Rand's dream sequence, you get to see the Dark One. He has that face of fire, but notice his hands are nice and fleshy and don't have any scarring on them. Additionally, he has that ring on his hand as well, just like Lews Therin Telamon and Latra. While we're talking about the dream sequence, let's talk about some things that this particular individual says to Rand that are little Easter eggs. The first one saying, "I wouldn't have thought it would be you." Talking about Rand being the Dragon Reborn, which is something that is kind of alluded to in the books, where he does not know which one of these Two Rivers individuals is actually the Dragon Reborn. Additionally, he begins to taunt him with a few things. So let's get into those. The first portion being him saying, "Last time you came with 99 companions much more powerful than her, and you still failed," which is exactly what happened to Lews Therin Telamon. Additionally, he never calls him Rand al'Thor. He calls him Lews Therin the entire time. Not Rand al'Thor or Dragon, just Lews Therin. A couple other things I found of particular note in this particular scene is that he recognizes that Heron Mark blade for that is the sign of a blade master. Additionally, he says, "That's not your father. Your father died a long time ago," meaning that he's not only jabbing at Rand because that's not his dad, but saying, "Hey, I know who your father is." He also says, "Stubborn as always, Lews Therin," which is a defining trait of Lews Therin as well as Rand al'Thor, but additionally is a defining trait of everyone from the Two Rivers regions in the books. A few other things of note here is that he says, "This is a dream." And he says, "Does it matter?" Probably not. In fact, this is Teleron reality, and it doesn't necessarily matter because we know what happens in the world of dreams. Additionally, when he pushes that arrow into his eye, it's showing that he has mastered the world of dreams. He knows what's going on here and how to manipulate it, something we have to keep in mind for later. Finally, he says, "Let me tell you what those women never would about being the dragon," a near verbatim nod to a line from the books. After Rand wakes up from the dream, the dialogue that Moiraine has is the exact same lines she had at the beginning of his dream. Rand also says that he doesn't believe a word the Dark One says, but immediately starts asking Moiraine about the exact things that the Dark One was prodding him about. What is your plan? Did you think I was the dragon reborn? Showing those seeds of doubt were pretty firmly planted. Finally, the X-ray content does not call this the Dark One. It says it is the man, or Ishamael. So yes, this is Ishamael, the Forsaken, the father of lies. The sangreal that Moiraine gives Rand to use in this battle with the Dark One is a clear nod to the little fat man statue sangreal that he finds in the books. Now that one always kind of read to me like it was supposed to be Buddha. This looks still like Buddha, just the thinner one. Additionally, remember that Moiraine took this with her when she went on her journey to find the Dragon Reborn, meaning that she always kind of thought that it was more than likely going to be a male because it was males that channeled into this sangreal. In her conversation with Moiraine, Nynaeve says that she can no longer listen to the wind ever since she channeled, meaning that she knows that listening to the wind is tied to the one power, and thus now she can't do it because it is part of her block. Egwene, on the other hand, can still listen to the wind and says, if the Two Rivers was a whisper, this is a scream, showing the scale of this Trolloc army that is about to come. In Moiraine's story about the eyesight of the Helper Channel, she says that she was strong, controlled, precise, everything Moiraine wanted to be, and terrifying. Now, while many think this is a nod to Cadsuane from the books, I think this is more of a clear nod to Elaida, who in the books was always pushing both Siuan Sanche and Moiraine to be better and to be everything they could be, was strong, controlled, and precise, as well as terrifying to them, and most certainly came into their rooms and beat them with the one power to help them get ready for their Testes Aes Sedai in a new spring. That being said, let me know in the comments whether you think that was a reference to Elaida or Cadsuane. Finally, she ends the story by saying it was enough for me to eventually grab the power and stop her with it. This is a clear nod to what Siuan Sanche does to Nynaeve to get her to channel past her block in The Great Hunt. While not really germane to the story, the X-ray content does say that this character is loyal, son of Arendt, son of Hallam, which I think is just a great little detail there. In Min's bar, when she has a vision of Nynaeve burning out, you also see a table full of soldiers who all get mortal wounds. However, they are not the only soldiers in the bar, as about twice as many leave. While Min does not have visions about everybody she sees, this could mean that some people do survive that battle. As Algamar and company are walking, talking about the strength of this army coming towards them, they say the scouts spotted 60 Fades, meaning that there's about 5,000 to 10,000 Trollocs. That is actually very book accurate to the amount of Trollocs a Fade can control, which is typically between 100 but never more than 200 Trollocs, i.e. a fist of Trollocs per Murgrawl. Couple of quick notes here that the staircases in the Eye of the World are very, very similar in design to the staircases at Tarwin's Gap. Additionally, if you note, Algamar's armor has 3 foxes on it, which is the heraldry of House Jagad. It is also on his father's armor. While I'm on that, we'll also say that the tapestries and the throne inside of that throne room where they go to get the Horn of Valyr also have those 3 foxes on them. Clear nods to, while they are Shienaran, they are also of House Jagad. Additionally, when Rand sees himself as Lews Therin confronting Ishamael, you see Lews Therin do this. It looks like Ishamael also did the same thing, which is likely a channeler salute before a duel. This is very reminiscent to what Moradin does by putting his sword in front of his face and lowering it very late in the books as he's encountering Rand as a salute for a duel. Additionally, this mirrors the quick draw gunsling duels in the West. Inside of Rand's dream, the snowshoes on the door make a heart. Aw, so sweet. Some other details from inside the house is that you do see wool hanging from the ceiling, showing that he is still a shepherd. You also see a toy horse on the table as well as a crib, just showing how complete this world is. Additionally, there's the creator herself, Bella. So this entire dream scene is actually a mirror to something from the books that occurred during Egwene's testing as an Accepted in the White Tower, where she had to turn away from a life with Rand and a daughter named Joya. Additionally, in Joya's crib, nothing germane to the story, but notice there is a little stuffed sheep and a rattle there. Not germane to the story, but a really damn good small detail. In this, notice that Egwene is wearing wedding rings, Rand is not, showing that Ishamael can control the dream world, but not actually Rand. Another thing I want to point out, Joya does not look the same as the baby that Rand was holding in Min's vision, showing that that particular vision still has yet to come. In the real world, when Ishamael shows up, Moiraine tries to channel what looks to be shards of ice at him, and he quickly cuts her off from the true source. I believe he's shielding her, It looks very similar to the shield there, and we have some additional evidence later on in this episode. Notice that the weaves Ishmael's channeling do not have any black corruption on there, giving a nod to the books where the Dark One did shield his Forsaken from the madness. Additionally, with these being white flows, does mean that he is using the one power, not the true power. While Algamar wanted to wear his armor, not his father's, to the Gap, he did take his father's shield. As she's escaping Fal Dara, we do see a very, very book-accurate Min here, and it looks phenomenal. We've seen both of these lines before, but now they're actually being said by Shienarans. One with Algamar saying, "May the last embrace of the mother welcome you home," a Shienaran funerary rite. Now, I don't believe he's saying this as he's pointing at the Trollocs to be intended for the Trollocs. I think it is for him and his men, who he knows are about to die. Additionally, another line we hear when Lord Dakota turns around to say, "I thought we weren't being disturbed," he sees Loial and says, "Glory to the builders." Another Shienaran saying, "I said earlier that I think that the reason Moiraine uses these is because she has strong ties to Lan, who was brought up in Shienar." As the women link to channel against the Trolloc army, you do notice that some of the flows seem brighter. These are the stronger channelers. Nynaeve's the brightest, Egwene's the second, and so on. Also notice that the weaker ones are the first ones to burn out. Small thing here, but the extra content also has a little blurb on the Horn of Valere and what it is. Notice that as Rand starts to channel saidin, initially the flows are clear white and uncorrupted, but as he continues to channel, that corruption seeps in. However, when he starts to channel through that little man Sangreal, additional flows start coming in that are not corrupted, showing that they were created by men back before the corruption really took hold. The box the Horn of Valere is kept in does not seem to have any obvious way of opening it, a very clear nod to the books themselves. As Rand channels to destroy Ishamael, you'll notice the cracks that occur across the seal or the floor below him start where Ishamael is standing and spread out from there. Good little detail. As Nynaeve is urging Amalisa to let go of the one power because they've already destroyed the army, Amalisa says, "I can't let go," a clear nod to the seductive nature of the one power in the books. Padan Fain does divulge that the Shadow has a plan to try to turn one, if not all of these Ta'veren to the Shadow, which is a nod to some of the plans in the earlier books. As you see Nynaeve burn out, notice that she is not completely burnt out. She still has some nice flesh tones, her eyes are still there, showing she didn't burn out completely, and she's more than likely not completely dead, just on the brink of death. Now, as Egwene is crying over Nynaeve, notice how she has her hands. She's trying to heal her, very similar to the same way that Carini healed Moiraine. Additionally, this does kind of happen, and Moiraine even said that adrenaline will sometimes bring you to the point where you can embrace the power and it can do what it wants. Additionally, this is a clear nod to the books where Nynaeve did the exact same thing without knowing when Egwene had breakbone fever. The image of Mat Cauthon that we see entering Tar Valon is not a new image. We saw it before when they were walking up to Tar Valon. Yep, that's the same image superimposed and with a filter on it inside of Tar Valon. Moiraine saying, "We can't go back to Fal Dara, not yet," shows that Moiraine thinks there's more to be accomplished there at the Eye of the World. Maybe a dragon banner. During her conversation with Lan, Moiraine says, "Rand is gone," showing that she still can't lie, meaning she is still tied to the three O's. Another reason I think she's shielded, not stilled. Additionally, she does say, "I can't touch the source anymore," not "I can't feel it." Again, that's just more ammunition, if you want, towards her more than likely being shielded, not stilled. The floor that they're on that broke is Quendiar, does have the ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai, and is almost certainly one of the seals in the Dark One's prison. Now let's cut to those scenes far out west, which is almost certainly Falme or Tomon Head. Not just because it says that's what it should be in the books, but because of what the little girl is wearing. Notice all the embroidery on the chest. That is something that is very, very prevalent within Tomon Head. Additionally, those are plum blossoms on there, which is a nod to a tavern in Falme. Now they get to see the Seanchan. Notice the rib sails. They got that right. Another detail on those ships, notice there is prevalent use of ivory, showing that yes, on Seanchan they do have shredded. This soldier is clearly holding a book-accurate Seanchan spear and lacquered armor. However, that helmet doesn't quite look insectoid to me, but it does look pretty damn menacing. Not bad. Finally, we get to look at their channelers, their Soldam and Damane. Oh my god, this looks phenomenal. It does not look the way it is described in the books, but it's a change on that Mad app because this looks great. Alright guys, so that's it. That's all the Easter eggs and little details that I could find in this season finale. Let me know if you found any down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever I come out with new content. And until next time, Have a wonderful day.